Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
All right, let's get some energy in here. So it's an exciting year. We got a new president, and next week is going to be the historic inauguration, right? Can we all give it up for Donald Trump?
Yeah.
The man fought through multiple assassination attempts, court cases in various jurisdictions, and he won. America spoke, and he's now our president. Frankly, every day I pray for him, and I think he's going to do a wonderful job. Is anybody going to the inauguration next week?
I am.
Hey! Congrats to you on that.
Yeah.
And you're going as well? Great.
Two of us.
Okay. Maybe you guys should take Donovan Richards with you, our borough president of Queens, because he's not doing anything for the people of Queens, in my opinion. So, fortunately, I got invited. I'm going to be going to the inauguration.
That's nice.
Yes. So really quickly, a few months ago, I got a call from the Trump team that they wanted me to make a video in support of Donald Trump's election for president. Now, this is when he was going through the little troubles he was going through when they switched out Biden, put Kamala in, and he was polling lower, and he wanted a tough fight. So they called me. At first, when I got the call, I thought it was a prank, but it was real, no joke. So when they called at that time, I was unprepared, I was at the gym, and I said, okay, this is a once-in-a-lifetime call, I'm gonna do it. So really quickly, I put on my quick headphones, and I started recording the video, but it wasn't coming out right. So I sent the video out to them, and I said, here's the video, I know you wanted it now, because they wanted to push it out immediately, and they told me the video wasn't good, but they had already sent it anyway. So I said, great, because I felt the same way. Make a long story short, the next day I woke up, all the 300,000 followers on my Instagram, everybody was messaging me, and I found out Trump had featured my video on his YouTube page, and the media had picked it up. So I'm getting all kinds of recognition. People are like proud of the courage I had. Because a lot of Trump supporters, we get a lot of hate. You tell people, oh, you're supporting Trump, you're a Republican, automatically they begin to throw shots at you, especially when you're black, believe it or not. And I'm a kind of guy, I'm a Queens guy. I believe in common sense solutions, and I vote for whose ideologies align with mine and with my people. And his did, so I supported him. And I'm a Republican. So to make a long story short, that was the first sign that we were onto something. People in higher places were watching what we're doing, and we're doing okay. So when God calls, we answer. We don't back down, right? We're Queen strong. And so a little bit about myself, and I almost forget to do this because I think everybody knows me, but I see just one or two new face, one or two persons here that I recognize, but you all, I don't think I met you guys before. Have I met you before, sir?
A few days ago.
A few days ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
You were by the door.
Oh, okay. So really quick, a few days ago, that crowd of people, I was at this interview, were brutal to me. And I'll talk about that later. But I'm Queens. I always say we're Queens strong. There's nothing in Queens we haven't passed through. So I take it as part of the job. I take it as motivation to do better. But what I will say real quickly about myself is, for most of you that haven't heard about me, is came from Africa with my family in search of the American dream and treatment for my sister, who in Africa at the time was given just a few days to live because she had a chronic condition called Steven Johnson syndrome. So we're in Nigeria at the time, and they said to my mom and my dad, I think I must have been like 4 or 5 years old, my older sister was going to die if she didn't get advanced treatment. My mother and father quit their job and began to call everywhere in this planet, from India, the UK, the United States, China, looking for any physician that cared to listen and that had any kind of treatment that would give this woman, my sister, life. And she was there with me yesterday. She's legally blind. Her name is Jane Ikezi. She's now a lawyer, by the way. But to make a long story short, A doctor called Mr. James, took the call in the United States because he had been doing an experiment on people with that type of syndrome, Stevens-Johnson syndrome. And make a long story short, we waited online and my sister lived, and a few weeks later, we came into the United States, initially for treatment. They didn't come here with anything, not a lot of money. They came here, all their savings, sold everything they had, jewelry and all, and we got the cheapest apartment they could afford at the time in south side of Jamaica. I remember vividly, on Liverpool Street and Sutphin Boulevard. Back then, if anybody knows about South Jamaica, it was brutal. There was outright prostitution, gangs, drug dealing, and all kinds of stuff going on South Road, right next to where we lived. My parents just wanted the American dream and treatment to save their child's life. So we got here, they settled down, they believed in the American dream, they believed in working hard, and the goal was to try to make sure my sister lived, and they survived. They applied for every single kind of legal avenue they could to become citizens of this country, to become a part of America because we love the country, and they waited their turn online while working odds and end jobs to make ends meet. Me, we had 5 siblings in a small 1-bedroom apartment. I was claustrophobic. I did not like to be in a tight space with my siblings. I'm a hands-on kind of guy. I like to build things. I like my own space. So my family decided to put me into Aviation High School, right here in Long Island City. Aviation High School, yeah. So they knew I loved to fix things, and they like, listen, mechanics, that's where you're gonna go, and I loved the school. But the problem with Aviation High School for us at the time was, it was 2 hours for me from Jamaica. I'd have to take the Q6 bus, 2 trains, the E and the number 7 train to get to school every single day as a 13-year-old kid. On the way back from school, I would stop on Jamaica Stop, and I would walk home looking at all these beautiful big homes and wondering when I would be able to get myself and my family out of this trap, this little 500 square feet apartment we lived in, an attic, all 7 of us. It was tight. And I love my brothers and sisters, but sleeping on top of each other was just one thing that I couldn't stand. So I would go to the library and I would read books about how to develop homes, how to acquire properties with no money down, how to do creative financing, self-taught. Make a long story short, by the time I was 17, I had enough. I started going out, knocking on doors and asking folks if they were willing to provide any kind of service I can do so I can buy a home for my family. And I'm not gonna give you guys all the details, but I'll just tell you that by the time I was 17 years old, I bought my first house using creative financing and all the skills I had learned, self-taught, in the library. After that, I called my friends, we gathered together. I was good at painting, I was good at building, I was good at sheetrock and all that stuff. We renovated the house, moved my family in, my mom was excited, we were all pumped up. That was when my first business started. As a real estate builder, contractor, I said, you know what, if I can do this for my mother, I can do this in my community, I can get my family out of the struggle, and I can build a situation for us. I'm a problem solver. So that was me then. Fast forward 30 years later, I have built over 2,000 houses in Queens, from Bayside to the Rockaway. And if anyone owns a home or ever bought a property, you know whenever you buy a property, it becomes your baby. You go into these neighborhoods and you build relationships with people. When I bought these homes, the fun part about my job was shaking hands with my neighbor and cultivating relationships. So we did that a lot. And recently, when I found out that our borough was going down the wrong path, was when the migrants started pouring in. You started seeing crime, break-ins, and you call the police, the response times suck. And my kids go to school here in New York, so you see what they're teaching them in school, and it'll blow your brains away. And last week I was at a speaking event where one teacher asked me a question. She's like, what are you going to do when you elect the borough president about the fact that the city is deploying funding for middle school kids to learn about pornography? I said, that is not acceptable. That is so wild that you go down Roosevelt Avenue right here in this broad prostitution in broad daylight, and no one is doing anything about this. And when I tell my friends in other places about this, they're like, are we on a time clock here? Or? Yeah. Okay, so if we are, just let me know. So To me, the Republican value truly matters to me. Our tradition, preserving our traditional values truly matter to me. Education truly matters to me. Public safety truly matters to me. Are you okay, ma'am?
Yeah.
You okay?
I'm just coughing.
Okay, I just want to make sure you're good.
Want some water?
No, I just have a little bit of a cold.
Okay. All right, my prayers to you. So all of these things that encompasses our traditional values truly matter to me. And I'm a straight shooter, and I'm the first one to say, when I decided to do this, it wasn't about paycheck. It wasn't about being a borough president. It was about what can we do to make Queens a better place for all of us. So everything that happens in Queens and the success of Queens truly matters to me. Queens has given me the foundation to build a home, to raise a family. No other place in this world could this have been possible but this community, but Queens. And that's why for me, I'm doing everything I possibly can to make sure I'm elected borough president and we get our borough right back on track. And now, I'm not a politician, I'm a problem solver. Solution-driven problem solver, common sense kind of guy. We have all these problems. I'm not going to focus too much on the problems. I want to focus on solutions. And my solution begins with doing the will of the people, putting the people first, listening to folks, hearing their concerns, and going to work to make sure we put forth the best possible tools to get Queens where the people truly want to be more prosperous again. And I'm going to say this and then I'll allow questions or whatever the case might be. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If you guys need me to take a break, please let me know.
We're good.
So when I decided to do this, I really didn't care about parties. Republican, Democrat, Independent. All I cared about really was, can I utilize my services and my skills, and can God give me the strength to push this borough back on track? That was all I cared about. And then I started looking at questions from people. Hey, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? And a lot of times it sounded divisive, but for the most part, it boiled down to me that we need to figure out, or I need to figure out, what party truly aligns with my values. And I'm a very traditional kind of guy. And that's why I decided to start off with the Republican Party. But what I noticed is I'm a winner. Anything I do, I like to win. I fight hard, sleepless nights to make sure that if we have an agenda, we fight and we get it done. The same values I have as a kid to fight to get my family out of a one-bedroom trapped at that time is the same values I have now. I see my borough in trouble, I want to get it in the right direction. And so for me, when I look at the Republican Party, and I've helped the Republican Party out a lot. I've supported candidates, and many of them were great candidates. A good one was Dwayne Moore, a good friend of mine that ran for assembly. I got really close to him, but he lost. And then the interview I went to 2 days ago, I've never had an interview a day in my life, so the grounds were very uncomfortable to begin with, but I said, you know what? This is ordained. God pushed me to do this. I'm going to go where it takes to get this job done. And so for me, it's really all about, I'm not good at speaking, I'm good at doing. I'm a doer. So I know the problem, I want to get the job done, I want to do it. So I'm going to let you guys ask me any questions you may have. That's a little bio about myself, that's my view. And I think the Republican Party, we keep losing because we're not united. So we got to unite. We have to support candidates. We have to encourage primaries. I want competition because quite frankly, I want to know that somebody can do this job better than me, and I'll step aside. But until then, I'm going to keep fighting and fighting until I become the next Queens Borough president and get Queens back on track. Any questions?
What do you think to do about the prostitution, especially in Jackson?
Jackson Heights.
These prostitutions, absolutely. And it's not just Jackson Heights, by the way. you go on Jamaica Avenue, you go in Bayside, and a lot of them, what we found is these prostitution gangs are being masked as massage parlors.
Yeah.
So they set up a massage therapy, and guys go in there. We had a sting operation there. Quite frankly, they should hire me as the commissioner of police because I'm doing a better job than the cops. And we figured out their whole operation. So what would I do when I'm elected borough president? I'm going to shut all these things down immediately. I'm going to speak to the mayor, and if he's not going to do it, we're going to keep screaming and getting loud until this is out of our neighborhood. And I'll tell you why. A lot of where these prostitution, these fake massage parlors are set up are very close to our schools, where our kids are walking past, our daughters are walking past, they're close to churches, and it's just not sound. It's just not in line with our traditional values as Americans. So we have to shut these things down, and we have the tools to do them, and we're going to do it when I'm elected.
That's good.
Yes.
Why Queensborough president? Why not another, you don't hold political office now, right? So this will be your first.
Absolutely.
Why borough president? Why not representative? Why not governor? Why not senator? Why borough president?
That's a good question. When I look at my strength, and I asked myself that, right? I could have went for city council, I could have went for assembly, when I look at my strengths, particularly in building, particularly in affordable housing, particularly in dealing with crime and being the kind of person I am, the role of the borough president aligned perfectly to the skills I have that I know I can really conquer. So I wasn't trying to go into something that I know I wouldn't be the best at. But when I looked at that role as borough president, being able to affect the way housing is constructed, zoning, land use, community board members that could affect the way we fund our schools, the way we handle public safety, the way we deal with the train, the transit system, transportation, and that sort of thing, that's all along my alley. One thing I forgot to mention was also my education. I don't talk much about it because I never used school as a tool for a job. I used it because that was my passion. So I went to SUNY at Old Westbury, where I got my bachelor's degree in politics, economics, and law, triple major, SUNY at Old Westbury. And for my master's education, I went to St. John's, very close to my home, a stone throw away, where I studied political science. And now when I was going to school and doing all of this 10 years ago, besides the fact that my family just believed in education, I wasn't going to school to study politics because I wanted or had any interest in being a politician or going to economics, because economics I had a business, so that mattered to me. But I almost feel like there's a connection, a divine connection between me having to go to school then, not knowing that I would be here almost 15 years later, vowing to be a politician, something that I never even thought in a million years I would do. Does that answer your question?
Can you take the cut and pay? I mean that jokingly, but really, it's a lot different than being a real estate person and going into public service.
Very valid question. Valid question. And someone asked me this a few days ago when I was at the Republican interview. They said, Henry, Donovan Richards got $40,000 in the bank. You've only got, I think he said 3,000, but we really have maybe 10 or 15, a little bit more than that. I'll speak to my treasurer. And I get it. We need a businessman, number one, to drive this city in the right direction. A lot of what's happening here is really cutting deals. And it's cutting deals for the people of Queens. If you got a guy that never built houses before, never owned a business, never fought to get his business out of water, he's not really going to understand how to run this city. I've run a business through the most challenging times with nothing. I can build a business, I can build a city. Am I willing to take a pay cut? The answer is very simple. I'm willing to not even take a pay. This is not about money for me. I don't want a paycheck. I want to drive Queens in the right direction. Keep the money, give me the job, give me the people. I know two things are going to happen though. To win this election, the Republican Party is going to have to unite. There's a lot of division even within our own party. We got to unite and we got to support candidates because this is not easy. And God has given me the strength and the grace to have a family that supports me, a large family that supports me, and a team that I would have to say I don't even know how they picked me because they've done an awesome job. Within the year that I haven't even done politics before, we've raised over $10,000 from unique small donors. We've done multiple rallies. We've been on the radio. We've been featured on Trump's page. We've been carried all over the news. And we've spoken in multiple places. This is unprecedented for a newbie, if you want to call me that, I'll take it, to be able to be in this position so quickly in such a short period of time. But the other day when I was at that thing, somebody said, and I almost felt very disrespected by the Republican Party at that meeting, because they looked at me and they said, we've heard enough. I felt bad, but again, I'm not one to back down from a fight. And I'm going to keep going, because this fight is not just for the party. This is a fight for America. It's a fight for the people of Queens. It's a fight for my family. And it's a fight to give Queens back everything it's given me. Any other questions? Yes.
So far, you have started to put your face in so many communities, and how far are you with your fundraising? Because it needs a lot of money.
Let me say this again, and I don't want to sound pompous, but I have a lot of friends and family that when I pick up the phone and say, hey, I need this, they're going to support me.
Okay.
I'm not as worried about, yes, I am concerned about the money, because again, it takes money to fuel a campaign.
Yes.
But if you look at what we've done with the little we have, it's priceless. We have the people supporting us. Many of this have been done by volunteers. When we call a rally, they show up. When we say we want to go on the radio, they give us the time to go on the radio. We have a massive platform of over 300,000 social media followers. And this is not like 1975. The city's changing. The borough is becoming more diverse. The needs of the borough is ever evolving. So we need a leader that's going to understand the landscape of what we're dealing with, and that's going to be adaptable to these changes that we're facing today, not using the old mentality to try to solve them. Any other questions?
Thank you so much for
Thank you so much for coming.
If you can allow me to close, please.
Yes, and wish you well. Thank you.
If you can allow me to close, please, I'd like to just make a closing statement.
Okay, well, of course.
He grew up here because he doesn't have the Nigerian accent. I was in Nigeria for 6 years.
Yeah, it's a tough country, right?
Yeah, I was in the Oyo State. I was department head of anesthesia
Oh,
in the University of Ife.
oh, okay.
They changed the name, right?
Okay. In closing, I would like to say that it's time for new, bold leadership to tackle the problems we face today.
Yes.
The only way we're going to do it is if we all unite and we face it head on. To support my campaign and to show a sign of unity, I would like all of you guys, if you can, go to my website, voteike.com, make a small contribution, because it sends a powerful message, not just of unity, but that it gets us closer to the matching program so we can get more funding from the city to keep this mission going. And I would like to voteike.com. Yes.
Voteike.com if you want to contribute.
Yes, and lastly, I want to thank my campaign team. Without them, I would be nothing. George, Zara, Cherie, and all the good people of Queens, including Jessica and my family that have supported me, pushing me every single day to keep carrying on and fighting for the people tirelessly. That's why I do this, and I do this for Queens. So may God bless America, may God bless Queens, and I wish us a prosperous year. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.